Young man, if you will change, everything will change for you. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. If you'll change your philosophy, if you'll change your habits, if you'll refine your thinking, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future, all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change.
Have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be.
You know, a paradigm can cause us enormous problems because it's causing our results, and if the results aren't what we want, we don't understand that those results are really being motivated by paradigms, we may never change the results. And most people go through their life and they never do change the results. They try and change everything under the sun, but they don't realize if they want to change the results, they have to change themselves. If they're going to change themselves, what part of themselves do they have to change? They have to change their subconscious condition. That's what they have to change.
When you're obsessed with what you want, you begin to hear those conversations. When you're not obsessed, you miss them. Or you'll see something that you wouldn't see. You'll see the prospect. You'll see the situation. You'll see the opportunity. It's literally reveals you. It's almost like the Matrix. It changes our world. This is the power of what we think about. It's the most misunderstood thing in the world. It's literally taking control of your thoughts and pointing it at your life and your goals and your dreams as a weapon to magnetize towards you what you want.
Most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential. Not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. But most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have. If you can determine what a man shall think, you'll never have to concern yourself with what he will do. If you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So every day you have to sell yourself and get out of your mind those old thoughts, that old belief system. Every day you've got to sell yourself on that it's possible. That you got to put a new mind in you. You got to get out of your mind. You got to begin to restructure your thinking. Every day you've got to begin to recondition your mind.
See, one of the challenges that we have in our lives is we don't realize that the process of training ourselves, the process of conditioning ourselves actually feels incredible once you get that initial momentum, but most people don't. If you want lasting change, you've got to give up this idea of trying something. You got to decide you're going to commit to mastery. And when I say commit to mastery, what I mean by that is most people dabble, but there is a path and it requires consistency. Think about it. Everybody overeats some of the time. Everybody gets angry or frustrated or sad or depressed some of the time. Your life is not controlled by what you do some of the time. It's what you do consistently. And here's the secret. Whatever you want to make better, you better make sure you measure it more often. Think about it. If you want to lose weight and you never look at a scale, that's how people find themselves 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, or even 10 or 15. Because it just kind of happens slowly and then all at once. You know, what do businesses go out of business? You know, things are okay, and then all of a sudden they're in trouble overnight. It's not overnight. All of our success and failure in life comes from little decisions, little actions, little moments. Failure isn't an overnight event. It's failure to make the phone call. It's failure to say, I love you. It's failure to take care of your body. It's failure to invest some time in yourself so you keep growing and expanding and not just reacting to the world that's constantly demanding your attention. It's success comes from doing the right things also, little things, taking the time for what matters most, your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotion, having a plan and measuring your progress. That's the second thing we need. You got to commit to mastery. Today, people have no patience. We all want it right now, and people don't only not commit to mastery, but they rarely even find a real mentor or coach. They think they have all the answers, they try a few things, if it doesn't work, they run to something else. If you want a great jump in the quality of your life, an extraordinary jump in the quality of your life, you got to set yourself up to win. You got to set yourself up with a process that allows you to consistently grow, consistently enjoy your life, and consistently produce the results that you're really after. I'd like to ask you to take a look at any place you've got a limitation and ask yourself, when did I decide to accept that limitation? And you may not even see it as a limitation. You might see it as just, that's who I am. But so often in our lives, we've adapted to be a certain way so that we don't fail or so that people will like us or respect us, but it's not necessarily who we are. Joy comes when you're spontaneous. It's really hard to be truly happy when you're not being yourself. And most of us have no clue who we are. People do things spontaneously without thinking, because that's when the real you shows up. That's when the energy comes alive. And when you do that, when you start to connect to your true nature, suddenly there's energy available for you to set a higher standard for what you want in your life. That's what this is really all about. And when I talk about standards, when I talk about, shoulds versus musts, think about your own life. I know there have been areas in your life where some point in time you just shifted and you raised the standard and your life changed. Because whatever people have their identity attached to, they live. We live who we believe we are. That's just how it works. Your physical body today is an absolute reflection of only one thing. Not your goals, not your desires, but your standards. The identity you have for yourself. If your standard is you're an athlete, then there's a certain amount of strength, a muscle tone, and energy that's available in your body on a regular basis because that's who you are. And so you do whatever's necessary to maintain that identity. Again, the strongest force in the human personality is this need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. Because if you don't know who you are, you wouldn't know how to act. Once you lock in on that identity, your brain finds a way to keep you there. If you say, man, I'm overweight, I've always been overweight, I'm big boned, and that's the story you got, then you're gonna always find a way to get back there. That's your settling point. That's your identity. That's where things lock in. If you see somebody who's in really great shape, you ask them, do you work out? You know the answer. Yes, how often? And they'll tell you 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week, whatever. Now, do you think those people that are out there working out 5 days a week, do they have more time than you do? Or I have, or anybody else? Of course not. Is their life less busy? Of course not. It's just a must for them. They must work out that way, and they've made that turn, their life changed. So I'm not saying you have to work out 5 days a week. I'm just saying whatever you really want, wants don't get met consistently. Standards do. Whatever you identify, this is who I am. And so it's not so much about changing your identity as there's expanding it. Deciding that, instead of your goals to lose 10 pounds, which is not compelling, what if your vision was to get back to my fighting weight? This year, this month, this next 90 days, I'm gonna transform my body. I'm gonna take on a new challenge. I'm gonna find some technique or strategy, there's a million of them, that can reframe myself where I wanna feel younger, stronger, more vibrant than ever before. Here's my reasons, because I want the energy to really make my life work, because it's tough out there and I wanna be stronger than I've ever been before. You identify yourself in a new way and you own that every day, and that becomes the standard of how you live, you'll find the way to make that standard real. Money's the same way. Think about it. It doesn't matter what's happening, quote unquote, in the marketplace. People that make money find a way to make money no matter what, don't they? I mean, most people's standard is to pay their bills. So that's what most people find a way to do, even when economic times get tough. Most people, if that's their absolute standard, they find a way. Some people's standard is pay their bills most of the time. And so most of the time they do. Some people's standard is not just to pay their bills, but to take care of their family and maybe even some of their friends. And they find a way. In fact, some people may be in a family where they don't have enough money. They barely have money to pay their bills. They work their guts out. And then somebody, their mother, their father, somebody else, their sister gets ill, and there's not enough money to take care of it. Nobody else has money in the family. They don't either, but they find a way to get that money to take care of their mother or father, don't they? And pay their bills. They never could do it before. Why? The situation made them raise their own standard. And not everybody does that. Somebody else in the family might have money and still not take care of their mother. It all comes down to the inner game, my friends. Changing your life is a change in the inner game.
5 sources of inspiration. Here's the first one. Deciding. If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Now, some decisions are incidental and some are small, and some, are part of a working day. But sometimes decision making can be one of the most important days of your life. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide on a refinement in philosophy, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, you decide on a series of things that you're going to do, you decide. Deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. Also, deciding sometimes starts the process of lifting our self-esteem. Sometimes when you look back on it, the day that you decided was just about as exciting as the day when you finally accomplished the project. That when you finally made the decision, you finally got the monkey off your back, as we say in English. You finally got through whatever barriers kept you from making that decision, and finally you made a decision. And now it seems like the sky is blue and the air is clear and your mind is ready, and the adrenaline starts to flow, things start to happen to you from that moment of decision. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide, but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, you must follow through. But if there's some things you've been postponing, some decisions you have just, hadn't gotten to, I would ask you to just, take out your journal and just go through, what have I been postponing that's not going to be better for my health? It's not going to be better for my future. It's not going to enhance my finances. Maybe a problem needs to be solved. I got to decide when I'm going to do it and how I'm going to proceed. I need to get to it. I promise you, if you'll go through some of that list and start making those decisions, your inspiration will start to flow, and those could be very critically important, exciting days. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. Indecision means the door is still closed. Indecision means the opportunity waits. Indecision means what could be is postponed or may never be. Those are all the penalties of indecision. And sometimes we can't make a snap judgment. We can't decide immediately on something so important. But after a while, we must understand sometimes the heavy penalty of putting off our decision making.